طيب الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على إمام الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وأنصاره وأزواجه وذرته أجمعين. أما بعد, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this another of our sittings. Today's topic is a spiritual topic because we are in a spiritual month. Today's topic is the 8 gates of paradise. Paradise has 8 gates, and as Muslims we should learn the 8 gates of paradise, and we should strive to the best of our ability to be called to enter paradise from one of these gates. And the hadith to prove that there are different gates of paradise is a saying of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam: any woman who obeys her husband, any woman who prays 5 times a day, fasts in Ramadan, and obeys her husband, she'll enter through paradise through any gates that she likes. The 8 gates of paradise. Paradise has 8 gates, and as Muslims we should learn them. If a woman prays her 5 daily prayers, fasts in the holy month of Ramadan, guards her chastity, and obeys her husband, it will be said to her, enter paradise by whichever of the gates of paradise you wish. Yes, this is the hadith to prove that paradise has many different gates. The gates of paradise are as follows. Number 1, the gate of Salah. Number 2, the gate of Jihad. The gates of paradise are as follows. Number 1, the gate of Salah. Number 2, the gate of Jihad. Number 3, the gate of Sadaqah. Number 1 is Salah. Number 2, the gate of Jihad. Number 3, the gate of Sadaqah. Number 4, the gate of fasting. And this gate is called Rayyan. Put in brackets, Rayyan. Number 5, the 5th gate of paradise is called the gate of Hajj. Number 6, the gate of Iman. The 7th, Qadimin al-Ghayb. Qadimin al-Ghayb means the gate for people who were able to control their temper. Those who are able to control their temper, their anger. The 8th and last gate of paradise, Qadimin al-Ghayb, those who are able to control their temper. The 8th and last gate of paradise is the gate of Dhikr. Now let us start off with Salah. There is no doubt that Salah prevents people from indecency. So Allah said, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha wal munkar. Surah 29 verse 45. Verily, the Salah prevents you from fahsha, indecent intercourse, and munkar. Munkar means all types of sins. Surah 29 verse 45. Surah 29 verse 45. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha wal munkar. So Salah prevents you from indecency and all types of sins. And so that verily the salah prevents you from fahsha and every kind of unlawful intercourse. Okay, shukran. The first thing Allah Ta'ala will ask us about on the day of resurrection is the salah. So the first act Allah will look at on the day of recompense is the salah. If the salah was intact, Allah will look at the zakah, the sawm, the hajj, the jihad, the umrah, the sadaqah. But if your salah was not intact, Allah won't bother to look at the other acts of ibadah. Allah will first ask you about salah on the day of judgment. And if your salah was intact, Allah will look at the other acts of ibadah. But if your salah was not intact, Allah won't bother to look at the other acts of ibadah. Salah is the best deed after your shahada. So after your shahada, salah is the best deed. So when Bilal entered into Islam, when Bilal recited the shahada, the Rasul heard his footsteps in paradise and he asked Bilal, "What have you been doing? Because I heard your footsteps in paradise." And Bilal said that after embracing Islam, he was diligent in his salah. Okay, find the hadith about Bilal. The Rasul heard his footsteps in paradise. He was diligent in salah. So the above mentioned hadith is evidence that salah is the best action after your shahada, reciting your testimony of faith. The Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam compared your 5 daily prayers to a man washing in a spring, a river, 5 times a day, every day. He asked the Sahabas, if a man should wash himself in a river 5 times a day, will there be any germs left on his body? They said, no, O Messenger of Allah. He said, your 5 daily prayers is like that man washing himself off in a river. No germs will be left on his body. Find the hadith. The Rasul compared salah, your 5 daily prayers, to the man washing himself in a river. Salah is one of the greatest causes for you to enter paradise and be in the company of the prophets. Salah will cause you to enter paradise and be in the company of the prophets. The company of the prophets. This is the 3rd hadith I have in front of me, where a man told the Prophet he loved the Prophet and he would like to be with the Prophet, and the Prophet said, if you want to be with me, then help me by becoming diligent in your prayers. If you love me and want to be with me, help me to achieve this by devoting yourself in salah. Because by devoting yourself with salah, you will be able to be in the company of the prophets. The angels ask Allah to forgive the one who sits in his place of salah. If you go to the masjid and you sit in your place of salah waiting for the salah, Allah seeks forgiveness. Allah tells angels. The angels seek forgiveness for you while you are sitting in your place of salah. Now, I have a lot of notes in front of me, and I don't expect to finish the topic. Therefore, I'm going to speak on some of these issues tonight, and on Wednesday, I'll speak on some of the other issues, and I hope I can finish this on Saturday by the will of Allah Ta'ala. The one who goes to the masjid to pray is in salah until he returns home. The person who goes to the masjid to pray, it's like he is in salah until he returns home. This is the 5th hadith I have in front of me. Between each salah, the Rasul said, your father prayers. And from one Jumu'ah till the next Jumu'ah. And from one Ramadan till the next Ramadan, wipes out all your sins as long as you abstain from the major sins. So, your father prayers helps to wipe out your sins. Your father prayers helps to wipe out your sins because the Rasul said, your father prayers, and from one Jumu'ah till the next Jumu'ah. And from one Ramadan till the next Ramadan wipes out all your sins as long as you abstain from the major sins. The second gate of paradise is jihad. Bab al-Jihad. Allah Ta'ala has spoken about jihad on many occasions in the Holy Quran. So in Baqarah 216, Allah says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ الْقِتَالُ وَهُوَ كُرْهٌ لَكُمْ. All who believe, jihad is prescribed for you even though you hate it. Qital. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا Baqarah 216. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ الْقِتَالُ وَهُوَ كُرْهٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Qital is prescribed for you even though you dislike it. So Allah did not say Kutiba alaykum al-jihad. Allah said Kutiba alaykum al-qital. Allah used the word qital because you can't put a spin on the word qital. It means physical fighting with weaponry on the battlefield. The reason why Allah used the word qital in the ayah is because it's impossible to put in on the word qital. Qital means physical fighting with weaponry on the battlefield. Qital is Q-I-T-A-L. Allah used the word, Allah used the word qital, not jihad. Kum al-qital. Allah deliberately used the word qital in the ayah because it's impossible for you to put a spin on the word qital. Allah used the word qital because you can't put a spin on the word qital. Qital means physical fighting with weaponry on the battlefield. There are many other verses of the Quran where Allah Ta'ala has encouraged us to do jihad. Surah 8 verse 39. The other ayah I have in front of me is Surah 8 verse 39, where Allah said وَقَاتِلُهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ. Fight them till there is no more fitna. وَقَاتِلُهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ. Fight them till there is no more fitna, until Allah alone is worshipped in the land. Fitna means shirk. The word fitna in the ayah means shirk. Fight them till there is no more shirk on the land. Fight them till Allah alone is worshipped on the land. The other ayah I have in front of me is Surah 8 verse 60, وأعدوا لهم ما استطعتم من قوة ومن رباط الخيل تهبون به عدو الله وعدوكم. And make ready against them all you can of power, including steeds of war. You have to bring me Saheeh International for this Anfal 60, because Saheeh International translated it properly. Make ready against them all you can of power, including steeds of war, to strike terror into the heart of your enemy and my enemy. To strike terror in the enemy of Allah and your enemy. So Allah said, Turhibuna. Turhibuna means to terrify the infidels on the battlefield. Turhibuna means what? To terrify the infidels on the battlefield. Tawbah 29 is another ayah where Allah Ta'ala has encouraged us to do jihad. So Allah said, قاتل الذين لا يؤمن بالله ولا باليوم الآخر ولا يحرمون ما حرم الله ورسوله ولا يدينون دين الحق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب حتى يؤتوا الجزية عن يد وهم صاغرون. Fight against those who believe not in Allah nor the last day, nor forbid that which has been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger, and those who acknowledge not the religion of truth among the people of the book, until they pay you jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. Surah Tawbah, verse 29. Then in
Angry man.
Tawbah 36, Allah said, you should fight them collectively.
And man loves wealth.
Collectively.
And Allah told you that man, he is vicious, atrocious, and unscrupulous in his pursuit of wealth. Surah 100. وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. Man is vicious, unscrupulous, and atrocious in his.
And fight against the mushrikeen. I don't want all the ayah. All I want is, and fight against the mushrikeen collectively, as they fight against you collectively. Oh, yes, that's what I want. And Uthaymeen of Saudi Arabia, he passed a fatwa, said you can kill the women and children of the kuffar if they target your women and children. Uthaymeen of Saudi Arabia passed a fatwa saying you can kill the women and children of the kuffar if they target your women and children. So he used Baqarah 194 to pass the above fatwa. Uthaymeen used Baqarah 194 to pass the fatwa. Then whoever, listen to the part I want from the ayah. Then whoever transgress the prohibition against you, transgress likewise against him. And fear Allah and know that Allah Ta'ala is with Al-Muttaqun, the pious. So Uthaymeen of Saudi Arabia used Baqarah 194 to pass a fatwa saying, if the kuffar target your women and children, you are allowed to target their women and children, because this is how war is. Transgress against them the same way they transgress against you. Allah has commanded us also to fight against the munafiqun, not just the kuffar. The kuffar and the munafiqun. Tawbah 73. We were commanded by Allah Ta'ala to fight against the munafiqun and the kafirun.
So Allah said, يا أيها النبي جاهد الكفار والمنافقين واغلظ عليهم ومأهم جهنم وبئس المصير. O Prophet. And I think you have to use Saheeh International for this one as well. Baqarah, I'm sorry, Tawbah 73. I think you have to use Saheeh International for this one because only they translate it properly. O Prophet, wage jihad against disbelievers and hypocrites and be harsh against them. Their abode is hellfire, and worse indeed is that destination. Yes, this is the right translation of Sahih International. O Prophet, fight against the disbelievers and the hypocrites and be harsh upon them. And their refuge is hell, and wretched is that as a destination. The other I have in front of me is Tawbah 111. The other ayah I have in front of me where Allah Ta'ala has encouraged the believers to do jihad, 111. إن الله اشترى من المؤمنين أنفسهم وأموالهم بأن لهم الجنة يقاتلون في سبيل الله فيقتلون ويقتلون. Verily Allah has purchased from the believers their lives and their properties for the price that theirs will be Jannah. They fight in Allah's cause, so they killed others and they themselves are killed. And this is a promise made by Allah Ta'ala, is binding upon Him. Him means Allah. In the Torah, in the Injil, and in this Quran, that Allah has purchased from the believers their souls in exchange for Jannah. They fight in the cause of Allah, they kill others, and they themselves are killed. And the reason why Allah Ta'ala, He gives you the sweetness of victory and the bitterness of defeat, the reason for that is to make some of you become shuhada. Allah told you in Surah 3, 140, as for the sweetness of victory and the bitterness of defeat, we give it to men in turn to test you to see who are the real believers and to turn some of you into shuhada. And some people who are living in Dar al-Harb, they are so sinful, the only way for them to go to paradise is for them to die on the battlefield. They cheat on their wives, they take drugs, they drink alcohol, they go to casinos, they go to nightclubs. They are so sinful. The only way for them to go to paradise is to die on the battlefield. So Allah said, as for the sweetness of victory and the bitterness of defeat, we give it to men in turn. Surah 3, 140. وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامِ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. As for the sweetness of victory and the bitterness of defeat, we give it to men in turns. Why? So that Allah may test those who are real believers, sincere believers, and that He may take shuhada from among you, to turn you into shuhada. And when you are a shaheed, you'll be able to intercede for 70 members of your family. The Rasul said in a hadith about jihad, Man mata walam yaghzu walam yuhaddith nafsa bil ghazw mata ala shubatin min al-nifaq. Anyone who died and didn't do jihad, neither did he make his intention to do jihad, such a person, he dies the death of a munafiq. Hadith number 9. Man mata walam yaghzu walam yuhaddith nafsa bil ghazw mata ala shubatin min al-nifaq. Anyone who died and did not do jihad, neither did he express a desire to do jihad, such a person who dies the death of a munafiq. To encourage us to do jihad, the Rasul said, لا يجتمع كافر وقاتله في النار أبدا.
The disbeliever and the Muslim who kills him will never be in the hellfire. When you go to the battlefield to do jihad and you kill a kafir, he will take your place in the hellfire. لا يجتمع كافر وقاتله في النار أبدا. The disbeliever and the Muslim who kills him will never be gathered in hellfire. When you go to the battlefield, if you kill the kafir on the battlefield during jihad, he shall take your place in the hellfire. Never will you be in the hellfire together. By killing him, you fast track your entry into the paradise. Another hadith I have in front of me, Allah Ta'ala has undertaken to provide for the one who leaves his home only to fight in the cause of Allah and to affirm the truth of the word of Allah, Allah's word. He will either get Jannah or he will return home. Allah Ta'ala has undertaken to provide for the one who leaves his home only to fight for the sake of Allah. Hadith number 9. Allah guarantees that he who goes out to fight in his way, in his cause, believing in him and affirming the truth of his messenger, will either be admitted to Jannah or will be brought back from where he set out with whatever reward or share of booty he may receive from the battlefield. Their holy prophet said, the man who is wounded, the one who is wounded in the way of Allah will appear on the day of judgment, the day of resurrection, bleeding. He will be bleeding from that wound. So the one who was wounded on the battlefield, for the sake of Allah, on the day of resurrection, he will come with that wound. Its smell will be the smell of musk. That wound on the day of recompense will be the smell of musk. In another hadith about jihad, the Rasul said, paradise is underneath the shades of the sword. And because paradise is under the shades of the swords, they are the keys to paradise. Because paradise is under the shades of the swords, they are the keys to paradise. And to keep watch over the borders of the Islamic State. To keep watch over the borders of the Islamic State is a noble duty. This duty is called ribat, R-I-B-A-T. To keep watch over the frontiers of the Islamic State. The Rasul said to do ribat, yom, one day in the path of Allah is better than the dunya and what it contains. Ribat, R-I-B-A-T. This duty to keep watch over the frontiers of the Islamic State is called ribat. To do ribat one day for the sake of Allah is better than the dunya and what it contains. And those who do ribat, they are called al-murabitun. Al-Murabitun. Those who do ribat, they are called Al-Murabitun. Al-Murabitun is one R. Al-Murabitun. As for the Shaheed, he has 6 special favors with Allah Ta'ala. This hadith is collected by at-Tirmidhi. The Shaheed, the martyr, he has 6 favors with Allah. From the first drop of his blood, all his sins are forgiven. And he is saved from the punishment of the grave. He will cross the bridge of Sirat with the speed of lightning. And when he enters the paradise, he'll be able to intercede for 70 members of his family. The Shaheed has 6 special favors with Allah Ta'ala. From the first drop of his blood, all his sins are forgiven. He's shown his place in paradise. He is saved from the punishment of the grave. He is saved from the Fazal Akbar, the great fear. He is given a crown of respect to wear, a crown of dignity on his head. Its gems are better than the whole world and what it contains. He is married to 70 virgins of paradise. And he may intercede for 70 members of his family. This hadith is Hasan Saheeh, the Tirmidhi, volume 3, hadith 1663. One day a man approached the Prophet and said, some people they fight for the booty and some fight for the fame. Who is fighting for the sake of Allah? The Rasul said, the man who fights to make La ilaha illallah the highest, he is the mujahid who is fighting for the sake of Allah. So the man approached the Prophet and asked the Prophet, some fight for fame, some fight for booty. So who is fighting for Allah? The Rasul said, the man who fights to make La ilaha illallah the highest, then he is the mujahid who is fighting for the sake of Allah. Where's the note? The Holy Prophet ﷺ, some fight for fame and some fight for booty, but a man who fights for the sake of Allah, that is a real mujahid. He fights to make Allah's word La ilaha illallah the highest. If you fight to make Allah's word the highest, then you are the mujahid. So in this world, some people they fight for democracy, like FSA. FSA they fight for democracy. The Free Syrian Army. Some people fight for partisanship. They are clannish and they fight for the sake of partisanship, like Jabhat al-Nusra. They fight for partisanship. The only mujahid is the one who fights to make Allah's word the highest. La ilaha illallah. Some fight for asabiyah, racism, tribalism, nationalism. Even though the Prophet said, Laysa minna man da'a ila al-asabiyah. The man who calls to asabiyah is not one of us. Some fight for asabiyah. Asabiyah is racism. Racism, tribalism, nationalism, all of that is asabiyah.
the Rasul said, the man who calls to Asabiyah, he is not one of us. So be careful of jumping on the bandwagon of somebody and you don't know why they're fighting, what they're fighting for. Not every person who say, I am a mujahid is a real mujahid. Some people are fake mujahideen. And because some people are fake mujahideen, the Rasul said, the man who fights to make Allah's words, La ilaha illallah, the highest, then he is the mujahid who is fighting fi sabilillah. The Rasul said, Al jihad maad ila yawm al qiyamah. Jihad is compulsory on you until the day of resurrection. Al jihad maad ila yawm al qiyamah. Jihad is compulsory upon you until the day of resurrection. The Rasul even told us that a party from his ummah will forever do jihad until they fight the army of the Dajjal. A group of my ummah will forever do jihad until they fight the army of the Dajjal. Okay, shukran. The third gate of paradise is called the gate of Sadaqah. On many occasions, we were commanded by Allah Ta'ala to give away in charity. Baqarah 254. Sadaqah is charity. And on many occasions, we were encouraged by Allah Ta'ala to give away in charity. Baqarah 254. So Allah said in Baqarah 254, O you believe, spend of that which we have provided for you before a day comes when there will be no bargaining, no friendship, no intercession. And it is the unbelievers who are the Zalimun. The other ayah, Baqarah 267. Or you believe, spend of the good things which you have earned legally, and of that which we have produced from the earth for you. Now, one of the signs of a munafiq is that he cannot give charity. One of the signs, Allah gave us the signs of the munafiqun in the Quran. One of the signs of a munafiq, he cannot give charity. And even if he gives charity, he frowns. And even if he should give in charity, he frowns. Surah Tawbah, verse 54. وَمَا مَنَعَهُمْ أَن تُقْبَلْ مِنْهُمْ نَفَقَاتُهُمْ إِلَّا أَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَلَا يَأْتُونَ الصَّلَاةَ إلا وهم كسالى ولا ينفقون إلا وهم كارهون. And nothing prevents their contributions from being accepted from them except that they disbelieve in Allah and the last day. They disbelieve in Allah and they disbelieve in the messenger of Allah. And when they come to Salah, they come to Salah lackadaisically, lazily. And when they give away in charity, it is unwilling. They frown when they give away in charity. This is one of the signs of a munafiq. He can't give charity. In Surah Muhammad, Surah 47, verse 7, you were encouraged by Allah Ta'ala. يَلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِن تَنْصُرُوا اللَّهَ يَنْصُرُكُمْ وَيَثَّبِّتْ أَقْدَامَكُم. We believe if you help the cause of Allah, Allah will also help you and make your feet firm. Or you believe if you help Allah, Allah will help you. How can you help Allah? You help Allah by helping the cause of Allah. Even the translator of the ayah, he puts in brackets, the cause of Allah. You can't help Allah because Allah is rich, you are poor. So how do you help Allah? You help Allah by helping the cause of Allah. To help the cause of Allah is charity. To help the cause of Allah is to give away in charity. There's a hadith where the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, to help the cause of Allah is charity. Okay, thank you. Now, Surah 90, verses 12 to 16. Surah 90, Surah Balad, verses 12 to 16. Allah Ta'ala spoke about the uphill road in this ayah. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ. What will make you understand what is the uphill road, the steep road? فَقْ رَقَبَةً, to free a slave. Or إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَرَةٍ, to feed poor people on the day of famine. يَتِيمًا ذَا مَقْرَبَةٍ, to look after an orphan who is close to you, like your niece, your nephew. O miskinan dha matraba, or to feed the miskin who is dirt poor. So Allah Ta'ala is hereby telling you what is the uphill road. There are two roads, one is flat, one is steep. The steep road is to free a slave, to feed poor people on the day of famine, to look after an orphan who is close to you, or to feed the miskin who is dirt poor. So the miskin is the poorest of the poor. The faqir is poor but he has no savings. The faqir is a poor man, he has no savings but he can find food. The miskin is so poor he cannot find food. He doesn't have anything to eat. Faqir is pure. Faqir. He is poor but he can find food. The faqir is a poor man but he can find food. The miskin cannot find food. He has to beg food. So the miskin is the poorest of the poor. The Rasul said, whoever gives charity equal to a date, Allah will make it come like a mountain. Allah will increase it. That's hadith number 16. So if you give away charity equal to dates, one date that you used to break your fast, Allah will multiply that for you and turn it into a mountain in your favor. In another hadith, in hadith number 17, there is no day on which the people get up, except that two angels descend. And the two angels, they make dua. One of them say, "Oh Allah, compensate the one who spends in charity." The other angel says, "Oh Allah, destroy the one who withholds and doesn't give in charity." This hadith is Bukhari and Muslim. Two angels descend every day and said, one of them made dua, said, "Oh Allah, compensate the one who gives in charity." The other angel said, "Oh Allah, destroys the one who withholds." Withholds means he refused to give away in charity. Charity cools the anger of Allah. Charity extinguishes or it cools the anger of your Lord. This is why whenever you do haram, for example, if you should go to bed with your wife when she is menstruating, you have to give away something in charity. If you go to bed with your wife while she's menstruating, you have to do what? Give away something in charity. Because charity cools the anger of Allah. When Umar ibn Abdulaziz was the caliph and they suffered an earthquake, he would write letters to his governors, the governor of Medina, the governor of Makkah, the governor of Medina, the governor of Yemen, the governor of Jordan, the governor of Syria, the governor of Egypt. He would write letters and say, "Give away in charity." If earthquake should happen anywhere in the Khilafah, Umar ibn Abdulaziz, he would send letters out to all his governors and said, "Give away in charity." Because charity cools the anger of Allah. The Rasul said, "Charity wipes out evil deeds the way the water extinguishes the fire." The charity wipes out evil deeds the way the water extinguishes the fire. The way water extinguishes the fire. Allah said in a Hadith Qudsi, "Spend, O son of Adam, and I will spend on you." Spend, O children of Adam, and I will spend on you. In another hadith, on the day of judgment, Allah will say, "I was hungry and you did not feed me." Allah will say on judgment day to a person, "I was hungry and you did not feed me." He will say, "You are the Lord of the worlds, how can I feed you?" Allah will say, "My servant was hungry and you did not feed him. Had you fed him? Aren't you aware that if you had fed him, you would have found him by my side?" If you had fed him, you would have found him by my side. The Prophet said, "The best dinar you can spend is on your family." The best dinar a man can spend is on his family. In another hadith, the Prophet said, the charity of a man will be under Allah's shade. The charitable man is one of the 7 people who shall beneath the shade of Allah. The man who gives in charity is one of the 7 people who will be underneath the shade of Allah. When he gives you anything with the right hand, the left hand doesn't know anything about it. The other bab is the gate of fasting. Number 4. The 4th gate is the gate of fasting, and put in bracket Rayyan. Put in bracket Rayyan. There's a hadith that says there's a gate in paradise called Rayyan, in which the fasting people will enter through that gate. On the day of judgment, it will be said, where are the fasting people? They will be called through that gate, the gate of Rayyan. And the Prophet said to Abu Bakr, I hope that you will be called from all these gates. The gate of fasting, and the gate of Sadaqah, the gate of Salah. I hope, Abu Bakr, that you will be the one to be called through all these various gates. Anybody who spends a pair of something in Allah's cause will be called to all the gates of paradise. Oh, Allah's slave, this is good. He who is amongst those who pray will be called to the gate of Salah, and those from the people who do jihad will be called from the gate of jihad, and those of the people who give away in sadaqah, charity, will be called from that gate. And the one who was diligent in fasting will be called from the gate of fasting, which is called Rayyan. Abu Bakr said, he who is called from all those gates will need nothing. He added, will anyone be called from all these gates, O Messenger of Allah? He said, yes, I hope you will be among those, O Abu Bakr, who shall be called from all these various gates of paradise. Baqarah 183, Allah says, يَلَذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Baqarah 183. O you believe, fasting is prescribed for you the way it was prescribed and those who came before you, in order that you will attain piety. Piety, taqwa, is to place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier by doing the fard and by abstaining from the haram. That is the definition of taqwa. To place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier by doing what is fard and by abstaining from what is haram. Taqwa or piety is to place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier. To place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier by doing what is fard and abstaining from what is haram. Charity is to place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier. To place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier by doing what is fard and to abstain from the haram. The wrath, I think, is W-R-A-T-H. The wrath of Allah a barrier.
The Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, hadith 24, has encouraged us to fast on the day of Arafah. The Prophet, because when you fast on the day of Arafah, 1 year of your past sins are forgiven, and 1 year of your coming sins will be forgiven. Just the fast on the day of Arafah. The Rasul encouraged us to fast the day of Ashura as well, the 10th of Muharram. The 10th of Muharram, we were encouraged to fast on that day as well, because it atones for our sins. Hadith 25, the day of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram. When the Rasul entered into Medina, he found the Jews fasting the 10th of Muharram. He asked them, "Why are you fasting?" They said, "This is the day that Allah saved us from the Pharaoh." So Musa commanded us to fast. The Rasul said, "We have more right to Musa than you." And so he fasted and told his Sahabas to fast the day of Ashura. Any hadith about Ashura? Please find a hadith about Ashura, where the Rasul told the Sahabas to fast the 10th of Muharram. Okay, thank you. In another hadith, the best fast is the fast of David. And that is for people who like to fast. You fast 1 day and you skip 1 day. You fast 1 day and you skip 1 day. That's the best fast. A man said, "I can do better than that." The Rasul said, "There is no fast which is better than that." The fast of David. And that is the Nawafil fast. You fast 1 day and you skip 1 day. The fast of David is the best fast. And the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to fast on Mondays and Thursdays. And when he was asked, he said, "Because our deeds are shown to Allah every Monday and every Thursday. And I want, when my deeds are shown to Allah, I am a fasting person." And did you find the hadith? The fast of David is the best fast. The Rasul said, "There is no fast which is better than the fast of David." And that is to fast 1 day and skip 1 day. And we are speaking about the Nawafil fast. When the man said, "I can do better than that," the Rasul said, "There is no fast better than that, the fast of David." The Rasul said in another hadith, "All the deeds of Bani Adam belong to him. As for fasting, fasting belongs to me, and I give the reward as I please. By Allah, in whose hand is my soul, the smell coming from the mouth of the fasting person is more pleasant in the sight of Allah than the smell of musk. And whenever you are fasting, do not indulge in bad speech. And if someone should try to quarrel with you, say to him, Inni sa'im, verily I am fasting." All the deeds of Bani Adam belongs to him. But as for fasting, fasting belongs to me. By Allah, in whose hand is my soul, the smell coming from the mouth of the fasting person is more pleasant in the sight of Allah than the smell of musk. And if you are fasting and someone tries to argue with you, to quarrel with you, say to the person, Inni Sa'im, verily I am fasting. Hadith 27. Please find Hadith 27. All the actions of Bani Adam belongs to him. As for fasting, fasting belongs to me. I give the reward as I please. Fasting is a shield. When any one of you is observing fasting, he should neither indulge in obscene language, nor should he raise his voice. And if anyone reviles him or tries to quarrel with him, he should say, I am fasting by him in whose hand the soul of Muhammad is. The breath of one fasting is sweeter to Allah than the fragrance of musk. The one who fasts experiences two joys. He feels two joy. He feels pleasure when he breaks the fast, and he is joyful when he meets his Lord. Okay, thank you. Some Sahabas approached the Prophet for castration because they want to do jihad. And the Rasul said the castration of this ummah is jihad. The castration of this ummah is fasting. He didn't allow his Sahabas to do castration, and he told them the castration of this ummah is to fast. And because of that, he said, anyone who cannot get married, let him fast, because in the fasting he'll find self-control. Hadith number 30. There are three people Allah will always answer their dua. Hadith collected by at-Tirmidhi. There are three people Allah will forever answer their dua: the fasting person, the just ruler, and the man who is oppressed. There are two joys for the fasting person. And there are two joys for the fasting person. Hadith 31. The fasting will intercede for you on the day of recompense. So the Quran will intercede, Ramadan will intercede. The fasting will intercede for you and beg Allah to give you paradise on the day of recompense. As for Umrah, when you perform Umrah in Ramadan, it's equal to one Hajj. I'll stop here for today and finish the Dars. I'll try to finish on Wednesday, inshallah. Are there any questions? Paradise, I've covered 4. The other 4 I'll
finish it on Wednesday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. If a person enters Jannah with the mercy of Allah, how will he know which gate he will enter? If he did more than one obligation, like, for example, jihad, fasting, does he pick which gate he wants to enter from, or does he enter through both? The hadith says that whenever a woman prays 5 times a day and fasts in Ramadan and obeys her husband, she can enter through any gate she likes. So on Judgment Day, you'll be given the privilege to pick any gate you want to enter from. Because of that hadith which I've just quoted, on the Day of Judgment, you'll be given the privilege to enter paradise through any gate you like. If you were diligent in salah, diligent in fasting, diligent in jihad, you'll be given the privilege to enter paradise through any of these gates. Are there any more questions? I see some people during Tarawih hold the Quran to follow along with Imam. Is this allowed? And the Maliki Madhab allows it, the Shafis and the Hanbalis. It's the Hanafis who don't allow it. Hanafis don't allow, they make it haram to read from the Quran when you are performing Tarawih. The Imam is not allowed to read from the Quran, and those who are praying behind him is not allowed to read from the Quran. That is Abu Hanifa's Madhab. But the Maliki, Shafi and Hanbali, they allow this practice. The Maliki, the Hanafis don't allow it, but the other Imams allow it.
Any more questions? I'm taking 3 questions. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Are there already Muslims in Jannah and Jahannam when it's said that no one will enter Jannah before Muhammad? Jazakallah khairan. The people who are in paradise are the virgins of paradise. They are already in paradise. When the ulama were asked, are there anybody in paradise? They said, the virgins of paradise, they are the only ones who are in paradise. But no one from the dunya is in paradise as yet. Because no one is allowed to enter paradise before Muhammad. No one from the dunya is in paradise as yet. Because no one can enter paradise before Muhammad. But the virgins of paradise, they are already in paradise. Any more questions? I think we have answered all your questions. I will be finishing the other gates of paradise on Wednesday by Allah's will. Is a woman allowed to remove facial hair? She's allowed to remove her. If she grows beard, she can remove that, because beard is not suitable for a woman. But what the Prophet said, you should not shave your eyebrows. What the Prophet said, you should not shave your eyebrows. But you can remove all other facial hair. What is meant by green birds flying in paradise? You have to take it literally. And we cannot give any other explanation. You have to take it literally that there are green birds flying in paradise, and these green birds have their nest on chandeliers, and these chandeliers are hanging from the throne of Allah. You have to take it literally. There is no other explanation for this hadith. The souls of the shaheed are in green birds flying around in paradise. These green birds have their nest on chandeliers, and these chandeliers are hanging from the throne of Allah. Our approach is that we take the hadith literally, because we take everything literally until we have evidence that it is figurative. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we take everything literally until we have evidence to prove that it's not literal, it's figurative. But the deviants, what they do, they say everything is figurative. The deviants, they say everything is figurative. And you're not allowed to take Quran and Sunnah literally. That is the approach of the deviants, especially the Sufis. Our approach is we take everything literally unless we have evidence to prove otherwise. Jannatul Firdaus is the highest paradise. the Prophet said, when you ask for Jannah, ask for Firdaus, that is the highest paradise. The gates of paradise are different from the different levels of paradise. For example, one of the level of paradise is called Darus Salam. One is called Jannatul Na'im. One is called Jannatul Ma'wa. And there are 7 levels of paradise. So the gates of paradise are different from the levels of paradise. Firdaus is not one of the gates of paradise. Firdaus is one of the levels of paradise, and it's the highest level. That's it for questions. I was told that's the last question. I'd like to thank Authentic 19 for the notes. I'd like to thank our brother Tawheed for posting the Hadith Hujjah. I'd like to thank Authentic 6 for posting the Quranic Hujjah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I'll now yield the mic. Welcome back to this another of our sittings. We are covering the topic, the 8 gates of paradise. We Ramadan, which is a spiritual month, so it's only relevant for me to cover spiritual topics. Therefore, our topic today is the 8 gates of paradise. The last time we were here, we covered the first 4 gates, so we are now on the 5th gate. The 5th gate of paradise is the gate of Hajj. Allah Ta'ala has commanded us to make, and it's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Let us begin with the Quranic verses that speak about Hajj. In front of me is Surah 3, verse 97. Surah 3, verse 97. Allah Ta'ala said in Surah 3, verse 97, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. And pilgrimage to the house is a duty that mankind owes to Allah. This is a debt that you owe to Allah, to make Hajj to the house. Those who can afford the expense for one's conveyance, provision for residency, and for food, and whoever disbelieves, he denies the rituals of Hajj, then he is a disbeliever in Allah, and Allah Ta'ala is not in need of any of His servants. He doesn't need man nor jinn. Surah 3, verse 97. وَلَلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. The other Quranic verse I have in front of me in regards to Hajj is Surah 22, verse 27. You can bring me all the ayah. It's a short ayah. Surah 22, verse 27. Allah Ta'ala said, وَأَذْرَ فِي النَّاسِ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. And proclaim to mankind the Hajj, the pilgrimage to the house. They will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every deep and distant wide mountain, highways to perform the Hajj. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Buni al-Islam ala khams. Islam is built on 5 pillars. Shahadati an la ilaha illallah, to testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. To perform the 5 daily prayers, to pay the zakat, to fast in Ramadan, and to make Hajj to the house once in your lifetime if you are able to do so. Recorded by Muslim. Hadith ibn Umar. One day the Prophet was sitting with his companions and he said, O people, O mankind, Allah has made Hajj obligatory for you, so perform the Hajj. A man shouted out, every year, kullu am. The Prophet did not reply to the man. He kept quiet. The man shouted out again, every year, we should perform Hajj every year. The Prophet still kept quiet, and when he said it on 3 occasions, supposed to make Hajj every year, the Rasul said, Law qultu na'am la wajabat. If I were to say yes, it would become compulsory. La wajabat. It would be obligatory for you to perform it every year, and you would not be able to do so. Then he said, leave me with what I have left to you. For those who were before you were destroyed because of excessive questioning, and therefore opposition to their apostles, their prophets. It destroyed those who came before you. They asked too many questions. So when I command you to do anything, do it as much as it lies in your power. And when I forbid you to do anything, then abandon it. Saheeh Muslim. So excessive questioning was what destroyed the people who came before us. They questioned their prophets too much. In another hadith, the Rasul said, an accepted Hajj has no reward except the paradise. Hadith 37. A Hajj which is accepted by Allah Ta'ala, such a Hajj has no reward except Jannah. In another hadith, hadith 38, a man said, O Messenger of Allah, which deed is best? The Prophet said, the best deed is to believe in Allah. The man said, what comes next? The Rasul said, to do jihad. The man said to the Rasul, and what? In another hadith, the Rasul said, the best you can make on Arafah. Arafah is the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. The 10th of Dhul Hijjah is the Eid. And when you are on Hajj, you don't fast the day of Arafah. So when we say you should fast the day of Arafah, it's a sunnah. We are talking about people who are not on Hajj. They are the ones who fast the day of Arafah. In another hadith, Aisha said to Rasul, we see jihad as a wonderful act of ibadah. Can women do jihad? The Rasul said, O Aisha, the jihad of a woman is Hajj. Now, it is permissible for a woman to make jihad, to do jihad, but she needs the permission of the Amir. And because jihad nowadays is technology, a woman can go for jihad. The Palestinians allow their women to do jihad, and the Kosovars and the Bosnians, they allow their women to do jihad. the Kosovans, the Palestinians, the Chechens. All these people allow the woman to do jihad. So a woman is allowed to do jihad with the permission of the Amir because Haram went to jihad with Muawiyah. You remember when the Rasul got up smiling and he said, I saw my people. They were doing jihad. They went to the battlefield and they were in ships. My people went to jihad in ships. And Haram said, pray to Allah for me to be one of them. And the Rasul said, you shall be one of them. No, which caliph built the ships? Muawiyah. Muawiyah across. Because she fell off her horse, her camel and died. The ulama, they use this hadith of Haram, asking the Prophet, can I join the Mujahideen for jihad? And the Prophet said, yes, you shall be one of them. They use this hadith as their evidence to say women can do jihad with the permission of the Amir. The other hadith I have in front of me is the hadith of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who die and did not make the Hajj and they had no reason, no excuse not to go to Mecca to perform the Hajj, such a person, he died the death of a Jew or a Christian. The person who died and did not, this hadith is in Musnad Abdul Razak, I think Musnad Abdul Razak, not Al-Bazzar. Anyone who died and did not do the Hajj and they cannot find a good reason why they did not do such a person dies the death of a Jew or a Christian. The other gate of paradise is the gate of Iman. This is number 6, gate number 6, the gate of Iman. The gate, the people with strong Iman, the virtues of strong Iman. Your Iman, the virtues of Iman. Your Iman saves you from being a lost soul. Surah 1 الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Imam Shafi said if Allah had revealed this surah by itself, it would have been sufficient to guide mankind to the straight path. So this surah that contains 3 short verses, Imam Shafi said if Allah had revealed this surah by itself, it would have been sufficient to guide mankind to the straight path. Your Iman saves you from becoming the lust of the law. Imam Shafi said if Allah had revealed Surah 95 verses 4 to 6. Surah 95 verses 4 to 6. So in Surah Wat-Tini wa Zaytun wa Turi Sinin wa Hadha al-Balad al-Amin, Allah said لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ السَّافِلِينَ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونٍ. So with your Iman, you are saved from becoming the lowest of the low. When a person has no Iman, they perpetrate shameful deeds. When a person has no Iman, they have no shame. They are unabashed about their vices. They perpetrate shameful deeds. With Iman, you gain the intercession of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hadith 42, the Rasul said what? Smallest particle of Iman will come out of the hellfire by the intercession of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Your Iman is the reason for your pious deeds to be accepted. Only with Iman your pious deeds will be accepted. Now, Surah 17, verse 19. What did Allah say? Surah 17, verse 19. So, a person who's a kafir and he is performing pious deeds only with Iman, only with the belief La ilaha illallah, such a person and whoever desires the hereafter and strives for it while he is a believer. Allah said, while he is a believer in the oneness of Allah, in the Islamic faith, while he's a believer in monotheism, then such are the ones whose striving shall be appreciated, thanked, and rewarded by Allah. That's one evidence. I'm not finished. I have to bring you more evidences just in case you are convinced by this ayah. Surah 24, verse 39. Yeah. Surah 24, verse 39. This is yet another evidence I have in front of me, just in case you are convinced about the first evidence. That only with Iman your pious deeds will be accepted. And those who disbelieve, their deeds are like a mirage in a desert. The thirsty one thinks that it is water. Until he comes up next to it, he finds it to be nothing. But he finds Allah with him who will pay him his due, which is the hellfire. This ayah is talking about people like Mother Teresa. Look at Mother Teresa. She performed pious deeds feeding poor people. She fed millions of poor people in her lifetime with her charity. Did she die a believer? She did not. She died believing in God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. That is her ideology. Her ideology was Trinity. So Allah speaks about people like Mother Teresa in Surah Nur, verse 39. Their deeds are like a mirage. There is no barakah for their deeds. The other ayah I have in front of me, Surah 39, verse 65. In this Surah, Surah 39, verse 65, Allah warned the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَلَقَدْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ, we have revealed unto you, O Muhammad, the way we revealed to all the prophets and messengers before you, that if you, Muhammad, should commit shirk, all your pious deeds are nullified. And these are the many evidences to prove to you that with Iman, your pious deeds will be accepted. Only with Iman, Allah Ta'ala shall accept your pious deeds. Concerning Iman, the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, anyone with three qualities has tasted the sweetness of Iman. So in order for you to taste the sweetness of Iman, to love Allah and His Messenger more than anything else, to love a slave, a servant, only for the sake of Allah, that's called al-wala wal-bara. To love a person for the sake of Allah is called al-wala wal-bara. To abhor returning to Jahiliyyah as he would abhor to be dumped into the hellfire. So after you see Jahiliyyah and you look where you're coming from out of Jahiliyyah, you hate to return to Jahiliyyah the same way you hate to be dumped into the hellfire. If you have these three qualities, indeed you have tasted the sweetness of Iman. The other merit of Iman is, with Iman your tawbah will be accepted. With Iman your tawbah shall be accepted. Surah 25 verse 70. Surah 25 verse 70. So Allah said, except those who repent and believe in Islam and do righteous deeds, for those Allah will change their sins into good deeds, and Allah is the most forgiving, the most merciful. الَّذِينَ تَابُوا وَآمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا صَالِحًا فَأُولَئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنًا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Surah Furqan verse 70. The other evidence, Surah 39 verse 53. Surah 39 verse 53. With Iman, your tawbah will be accepted. So Allah will accept your tawbah if you are of the believers. So in this ayah, Allah Ta'ala said, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Say, my servants who have transgressed against themselves by committing evil deeds and sins, do not despair from the mercy of Allah. Verily, Allah forgives all sins. Truly, He is the most merciful. Tawbah before you die. The Khawarij would like you to despair when you commit a sin. Always remember Surah Zumar verse 53. When Allah said He forgives all sins, He means all sins, even shirk, as long as you make. The other virtue of Iman, with Iman, you are put underneath. With Iman, you are put underneath Allah's protection. Iman calls you to be beneath the protection of Allah. Baqarah 257. As for that is Baqarah 257. ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياءهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
So Allah said, Allah is the wali, the protector, the guardian of those who believe. He brings them from out of darkness into the light. But as for those who are disbelievers, their awliya, their helpers, their supporters are the taghut, the false deities, and the false leaders. They bring them out from light into the darkness. Those are the dwellers of the fire, and they will abide therein forever. Now, for example, the Kurds who are living in Iraq and in Syria, they use the USA as their protector. That's why they are fighting the dollar. America, our protector. Our wali is America. So if that is the case, we will forever fight the dollar. Because our protector is going to provide us with drone strikes. Our protector is going to use drones to take out the ISIS fighters. And because we have America as our protector, we will forever fight the dollar and we will never give up this fight. This is the mentality of the Kurds. What the Kurds don't realize is that Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah 257, Allah is the wali, the protector, the guardian of those who believe. He brings them out from darkness into the light. But those who disbelieve, like the YPG, the PKK, those Kurds who are socialists and atheists, their awliya, their protector, their helpers are the taghut, the false leaders. They bring them out from light into the darkness. They are the dwellers of the fire, and they will abide in hellfire forever. We continue with our dars. Your iman will be a light for you on the day of resurrection. So on the day of resurrection, Surah 57, verse 12 to 13. Surah 57, verses 12 to 13. On the day of resurrection, the hypocrites will say to the believers, "Come, let us benefit from your light. Come, we want to benefit from your light." On the day when you shall see the believing men and women, their light running forward before them and by their right hands. Glad tidings for you this day, you the believers. Gardens underneath which rivers flow to dwell therein forever. Truly, this is a great success. Surah Hadid. On the day when the hypocrites, men and women, will say to the believers, wait for us, wait for us. Let us get something from your light. It will be said, go back to a wall will be put up between them. Inside it will be mercy, and outside this wall will be nothing but torment. So your iman will be light for you on Judgment Day. When you are crossing the Sirat, a bridge which is placed over the hellfire, if your iman was strong, your light will be bright to cross the Sirat. But if your iman was weak, your light will be dim. If you were a person who used to go backward and forward in Islam, you were not steadfast with your deen. Then you come back into Islam, then you leave again. You keep going backward and forward in Islam. On the day of resurrection, Allah will give you light to cross the Sirat, then Allah will snatch away your light. Then Allah will give you a light to cross, then Allah will snatch away your light. The way you treat Allah in the dunya, Allah shall treat you the same way in the akhirah. I put it to you, your iman is light for you on the day of recompense. The other virtue of Iman, your Iman gives you self-contentment. Your Iman gives you self-contentment. And the people with no Iman, they have no self-contentment. Their life is a wretched life. People with no Iman, they have mental health issues. Didn't you know that? When a person is a kafir with no Iman, they have mental health issues. They have OCD. And they have depression. They have dilemma. They have schizophrenia. They have ADHD. They are bipolar. They suffer from a bipolar borderline personality disorder. You have many, many mental health issues that these people suffer from. They even hear voices. A'udhu billah. Because they have no Iman, the shaitan follow them up and they even hear voices, the voice of the shaitan. So, how do you know that your Iman gives you self-contentment? Surah 28. Surah 28. It is with the dhikr find. Surah 13 verse 28. Surah 13 verse 28. Ala bi dhikr la tatma'in verse 28. Ala bi dhikr la tatma'in al-qulub. It is by the dhikr of Allah. Only by the dhikr of Allah, your heart will find self-contentment. Now, the other ayah to prove that Iman gives you self-contentment. Surah Taha. Surah Taha is Surah 20. 124 to 126. And did you find the ayah? Ella bi dhikr. Yeah, only with the dhikr of Allah, your hearts will find contentment. Your hearts will find sakina, tamatnina. Surah 20, 124 to 126. Surah Taha is the other evidence to prove that only with Iman your hearts will find self-contentment. وَمَنْ عَرَّ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً دَنْقًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. But whosoever turns away from my reminder, he doesn't act upon it, verdict for him is a life of hardship, a wretched life. And we shall raise him up blind on the day of recompense. قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَا حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. He will say, my Lord, why did you raise me up blind? My Lord, why did you raise me up blind? When I was in the dunya, I was able to see. Allah will say, قَالَ كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. Likewise, our signs, our revelation came to you, and you turned a blind eye to our revelation. So because of that, today, on Judgment Day, we treat you in the same manner. We raise you up blind. This is the evidence to prove that with Iman, you will have self-contentment. With Iman, you have tawakkul. That's the other merit of Iman. Only with Iman, you will find tawakkul. Tawakkul means to put your trust in Allah. But even though you put your trust in Allah, you should always tie your camel. Even though you're a believer and you put your trust in Allah, you should always do what? Tie your camel. Because when the man said, O Messenger of Allah, should I let the camel go and then put my trust in Allah? The Rasul says, no, tie your camel first, then put your trust in Allah. Now, the evidence to prove that your Iman gives you tawakkul is Surah 3, 173. الَّذِينَ قَلُّهُمْ النَّاسِ إِنَّ النَّاسَ قَدْ جَمَعُوا لَكُمْ فَاخْشَوْهُمْ فَزَادَهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ. Surah 3, 173. Those sincere believers who were living in Medina, The hypocrites of Medina said to them, a huge army is getting ready to fight you, so fear them. But it only increased them in Allah, it increased their faith in Allah, and they said, Allah alone our affairs. The Sahabas had tawakkul, and this was before the Battle of Uhud. This was before the Battle of Uhud. The hypocrites of Medina, they used to carry out scaremongering. They had tawakkul because they had Iman. They used to practice scaremongering. They always say, a huge army is going to fight you, fear them, fear them. That was the modus operandi of the hypocrites. And even until today, they practice scaremongering. We have no power to fight the kuffar. They have weapons of mass destruction. We can't win against them. We don't have the weapons they have. And the hearts of the believers are alike. The hearts of the believers are alike. And the hearts of the hypocrites are alike. And the hearts of the kafirun are alike. Their hearts are alike. With Iman, Allah gives you a makhraj. M-A-K-H-R-A-G. With Iman, Allah gives you a makhraj, a breakthrough. The word makhraj means a breakthrough. Okay, yes, a breakthrough to come out of your difficulties. Surah 65, verses 2 to 3. Surah 65, verses 2 to 3. Allah said, Iman, He'll provide for you a makhraj. Surah 65, whosoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to Allah, He will make a way for him to get out from every difficulty. That's what I want. I don't want all the ayah. And whosoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to Allah, He will make a way for him to get out from every difficulty. And He will provide him from sources he could never imagine. And whosoever puts his trust in Allah has a set measure for all things. Okay, yes, and whosoever fears Allah and keeps his duty to Allah, He'll make a way for him to get out from every difficulty. And will provide him. Why two hujjah on the board? Why so many hujjah on the board? I'm being confused. We don't need so many hujjah. And He will provide him from sources that he could never imagine. And we have, we don't need so many hujjah on the board because you're confusing me. Yes, so with Iman, if you have Iman, Allah will provide for you a makhraj. Makhraj means a breakthrough to get out of difficulty. This is from Allah. And Allah Ta'ala will never break His promise. With Iman, the other merit of Iman, with Iman, Allah Ta'ala will make you become rulers on earth. Surah 24, verse 55. With Iman, Allah will make them rulers of the land. The Muslims are suffering because the Taghut are ruling. But Allah said, if you have Iman, Allah will make you become rulers of the land.
Surah 24, verse 55. لَيَسْلَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَمَا إِسْتَخْلَفَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Allah Ta'ala has promised those among you who are sincere believers and certainly grant them succession to the present rulers in the land. So these Taghut who are ruling over you, if you are a sincere believer, Allah will give you istikhlaf. Allah will make you rulers and Allah will replace them with you. He granted it to those who came before them. And that He will practice that which He has chosen for them, and that religion is the security after you had fear. So you used to practice your religion in secret, no longer. Allah will give you security after you had fear. They, the believers, worship me and do not associate partners with me. But whoever disbelieves after this, they are the fasiqun, the rebellious ones. So Allah Ta'ala has promised you that if you have Iman, He'll give you istikhlaf. He'll use you to replace these present day rulers who are nothing but tawaghith. With Iman, Allah Ta'ala shall make you become the best of Ummah. 310. Allah promised that if you have Iman, He'll use you to replace the current leadership. Okay, yes, with Iman, Allah Ta'ala will make you become the best Ummah. Surah 3, 110. So Allah said, Kuntum ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. You are the best ummah. You can bring me all the ayah. It's a short ayah. With the wrong and you believe in the law. To enjoin the right and forbid the religious duty. To enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. And the Rasul said, Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi fa'in lam yastati' fabilisanihi fa'in lam yastati' fabiqalbihi wa dhalika ad'afu al-iman. Anyone who sees an evil, let him stop it with his hands. If he cannot, let him speak up with his tongue. If he cannot, let him hate it in his heart. And that is the level. So you have to stop with your hands. If you have no power, speak up with your tongue. If you have no power, because if you speak out, you can get life imprisonment. At least hate it in your heart, and that is the weakest level of Iman. So if you don't hate the evil in your heart, you have no Iman. So if you don't hate homosexuality in your heart, you're a kafir. If you don't hate homosexuality in your heart that homosexuality is okay, it is kosher because they were born that way, it's in their genes, you have become a kafir because you did not hate the evil in your heart. And the Rasul said, Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi. If you see an evil, stop it with your hands. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ. If you cannot hate it, condemn it with the tongue. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ. And if you cannot condemn it with your tongue because they might give you life imprisonment or they might assassinate you, then at least hate it in your heart, and that is the weakest level of Iman. The kuffar are changing their laws now that if you speak out against homosexuality, they can lock you up because they say you are inciting hatred against their gay population. They did it to Bilal Phillips. They gave him 3 days to leave Germany because he spoke out against homosexuality. Okay, thank you for finding the hadith. Bring the hadith in brown font.
Yeah, thank you for finding the hujjah. With Iman, your reward will be paradise. With Iman, your reward shall be the paradise. Surah 18, 107. With Iman, your reward is paradise. The evidence is Surah 18, 107. Verily, those who believe in the oneness of Allah and do righteous deeds shall have the gardens of Firdaus for their entertainment. The other Bab, the other gate of paradise, is Qadimin al-Ghayr. Qadimin al-Ghayr, this is the seventh gate of paradise. The seventh gate of paradise. It means those who control their anger. Qadimin al-Ghayr. This is the seventh gate of paradise. These are special people. Who are they? Those who are able to control their anger. And you are forgiven of others. You can control your anger and you are forgiven of others. Anger is a strong feeling of rage and antagonism towards someone or something. The definition of anger. Anger is a strong feeling of rage, R-A-G. A strong rage and antagonism towards someone or something. Anger occurs mainly because the person was provoked. Anger occurs because the person was provoked. For example, if the kuffar should draw cartoon insulting the Prophet, it caused anger because the Muslims were provoked. This is one example. Because something unpleasant was said to him or done to him. Something unpleasant was said to him or done to him. Something unpleasant was done to his family, his religion, or his wealth. Something unpleasant was done towards his family, his religion, or his wealth. That's what causes anger. Anger occurs mainly because the person was provoked. Because something unpleasant was his family, his religion, or his wealth. People will kill for religion. So he lashes out with rage and hostility. So because of that, he lashes out with rage and hostility. Anger can be halal. Anger can be halal. Mustahab. Mustahab means recommended. Anger can be fard. It can be makruh and it can be haram. If somebody insults the Prophet, that anger is fard. If someone should insult Muhammad, that anger is fard. If someone tries to change Islam, that anger is fard as well. So when the people said let us ask Osama to approach the Prophet, to relax. She borrowed their jewelry and didn't give them back their jewelry. The Rasul said, cut off her hand. The people said, let us ask the Prophet to relax the law of cutting off hands, because this woman was from a tribe which is a famous tribe, the Makhzumiyya tribe. The Rasul became angry. So, why the Rasul became angry? Because they were asking the Rasul to compromise on the deen. Do something which is haram. The Rasul said, what before you should steal, they will forgive. But whenever the poor people should steal, they punish the poor people for stealing. But if you are a celebrity to prison for stealing, a Hollywood star went to the shop to steal. She earned 15 million for each film, yet they caught her stealing. If it was somebody from the ghetto, that person would go to prison. But because of who she was, they didn't send her to prison. A Hollywood star. Anger can be haram, and that is when you become angry without a valid reason. Muraghama is when you make the kuffar angry. Now that anger is mustahab. Muraghama, to make the kuffar angry. One hour, muraghama. Muraghama is to make the kuffar angry, and that anger, to make the kuffar angry, is even though anger is a natural emotion like love, hate, joy, sadness, remorse, Allah set aside a special gate. Even though anger is a natural emotion like love, joy, hate, sadness, all these are natural emotions. Still, Allah set aside a special gate for people who are able to control their anger and forgive others. Still, even though it's a natural emotion, Allah set aside a special gate for people who have the ability to control their anger. They are called Qadimeen al-Ghayr. Yeah, they are called, these people are called Qadimeen al-Ghayr. Allah spoke about them in Surah 3, 134. In Surah 3, 134. Add in adversity, and those who repress their anger, and who pardons men, verily Allah loves the Muhsinin.
الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والقاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. That is the ayah. Allah spoke about the people who are able to control their anger and to forgive others. And the Prophet said there are two types of Muslims. The Prophet described to us two types of Muslims. The one who prefers to mix with the Muslims and he endured the hardship they cause him. And the other one, he keeps himself aloof from the Muslims because he can cope with their weaknesses. The Prophet said the man who mixes with the Muslims and endures the hardships they bring him is a better Muslim. Do you understand the hadith? There are two types of Muslims. The believer that mixes with the people and endures the hardship they cause him. They borrow his money and don't pay him back. They backbite him. Even though they backbite him and they borrow his money and didn't pay him back, and they misuse and abuse him, still he mixes with the Muslims and he endures all the hardship that they cause him. The other Muslim, he keeps himself aloof. So those people, I can't be bothered with them. And he keeps himself aloof. Oh, they are beneath me. The Prophet said, the man who mixes with the Muslims and endures the hardships that they cause him, he is a better Muslim. Because by you enduring the hardship, you belong to the Qazimin al-Ghayb. You belong to the Qazimin al-Ghayb. And another hadith, any man who controls his anger on the day of judgment, Allah will let him choose any of the Hurul Ayn he wants. Hadith 45. If you control your anger, on judgment day, Allah will present you many, many beautiful girls and say, choose the one you want. Many Hurul Ayn. Just choose the one you want. Many beautiful girls will be displayed in front of you on the day of resurrection. And Allah will say, just choose the one you want. Why? Because you were one of those who control your anger. The Rasul said, in a famous hadith, the strong man is not the wrestler, but the strong man is the man. The strong man is not the wrestler. Instead, the strong man is the one who is able to control his anger. Whenever a munafiq becomes angry, he behaves worse than the kuffar. When you're angry, if a munafiq becomes angry and he has a secret for you, he lets it out. He lets the secret out. Whenever a should laugh when he's angry. The hadith says the person who should lie down when he said, I heard the Prophet say, the most despicable person in the sight of Allah is a man who is harshly argumentative. The word for that is cantankerous.
The most despicable person is the one who is cantankerous. The jinn, they become angry very quickly. You know why? Because the jinn, they were made from fire. And because the jinn were made from fire, they become angry very, very quickly. Some Sahabas were in Syria. One of them urinated inside a stone hole. And a jinn was living there. He killed the Sahaba. You're not allowed to urinate in stone hole. When you do etiquettes of urinating and defecating, it's called etiquettes of answering the call of nature. Your Shaykh will tell you, don't urinate inside the stone hole. It's the home of the jinns. A Sahaba urinated in a stone hole in Syria and the jinn killed him because the jinn thought that maybe you can find this hadith. It happened in Medina as well. The jinn thought he did it deliberately, he did it on purpose. This hadith is in a rare book called as-Siddeeq. The Prophet said, if you give up argument, Allah will build you a mansion in paradise. The Rasul said what? If you give up argument, even though you might be right, Allah will build for you a mansion in His paradise. Hadith number 50. Okay, if you give argument, Allah will build you a palace in paradise. The ulama said, to control your anger, stay away from people who will trigger off your anger. Stay away from people that will trigger off your anger. So if you know that a particular person will trigger off your anger, avoid that person. Don't go to the gathering of a people that will trigger off your anger. Stay away from such gatherings. Takhrij needed. The takhrij, I think it's as-Siddeeq. Then they said, avoid looking at pictures that will trigger off your anger. So many of you, you go to YouTube and you like to look at pictures on YouTube. Not everything on YouTube is good to look at. I saw a picture on YouTube which is horrifying. A man in Indonesia, he turned into a tree. I couldn't sleep for many days. A man in Indonesia, he turned into a tree. I saw that on YouTube. So the ulama said, stay away from pictures that will trigger off your anger. The ulama said, stay away from food and drinks that will trigger off your anger. Stay away from food and drinks that will trigger off your anger, and stay away from substances that will trigger off your anger. Stay away from food and drinks that will trigger off your anger, and stay away from substances that will trigger off your anger. One day a man said to Rasul, Awsini, counsel me. The Rasul said, La taghdab. The man kept asking, counsel me, and each time the Rasul said, La taghdab, don't become angry, don't become angry. Hadith 50. So the qadimin al-ghayz, they are the ones who forgive others. When Aisha was slandered, M-I-S-T, Mr. Ibn Uthafa. Now this person who participated in the slander of Aisha, he was a cousin of Abu Bakr and he was poor. Mr. M-I-S-T-A, Mr. Ibn Uthafa. A cousin of Abu Bakr and he was poor. Abu Bakr said, I'm not going to, that man, Mr., I'm not going to give him any more financial support because he participated in the slander of my daughter Aisha. He was out of fair. So Allah revealed those who Allah blessed with wealth should not say, I'm not going to help my brother. Surah 24, verse 22. This ayah came down for Abu Bakr. Surah 24, verse 22. Surah 24, verse 22. And let not those among you who are blessed with wealth and grace swear their kith and kin. Allah used the word kinsman because Mr. was a cousin of Abu Bakr. And those who left their homes for Allah's cause, because Mr. he did hijrah from Mecca to Medina. He left his home for the cause of Allah. Let them pardon and forgive. This ayah, when this ayah came down, Abu Bakr said, I will break my wallahi and I will continue to provide financial support to Mr. because he did jihad. He was at the Battle of Badr. He did hijrah. He made hijrah from Mecca to Medina. And he did jihad. And he's my cousin. So Allah mentioned the three reasons why you shouldn't stop helping him financially. He's your cousin. Allah used the word, he's your kinsman. He made hijrah and he did jihad. When this ayah came down, Abu Bakr broke his wallahi and he continued to provide financial support to his cousin Mr. Also, he didn't really participate in the son affair. Aisha had an affair. He didn't say that. All he did was to smile when he heard about the slander of Aisha. So don't think he went around saying, Aisha had an affair. He didn't say that. He only smiled. So Abu Bakr said, how can he be my cousin and I am supporting him financially? And he heard about the hypocrites of Medina slandering my daughter Aisha and he wasn't there to protect her honor. Wallahi, I won't give him any more financial assistance. When Abu Bakr said that, Allah revealed Surah Nur verse to correct Abu Bakr. Don't swear, don't say wallahi, you won't help your cousin. Because he made hijrah from Mecca to Medina and he did jihad. He was one of those who fought at the Battle of Badr. When this ayah came down to correct Abu Bakr said, I will break my wallahi and I will continue to support my cousin Mr. I provide him with financial assistance because he was poor. The last and final gate of paradise is called the gate of dhikr.
Dhikr means to remember Allah. Surah 33, verse 41. And Allah spoke about them. Surah 3, 190 to 191. What did Allah say about the people of Dhikr? This is the ibadah of prophets, messengers, and the righteous. Allah said, إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. Verily, in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of night and day, there are indeed signs for men of understanding, the righteous, the scholars. الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. Those who remember Allah always in their salah, standing, sitting, lying down on their sides, and they think deeply about the creation of the heavens and the earth, they say, "Oh Lord, you have not created all of this without any purpose. Glory to Allah, glory to you. Exalted be you above all that they associate with you as partners. Give us salvation from the torment of the nar, the fire." So nothing in the heavens and the earth was created without a purpose. So you say, oh, why did Allah create the mosquito, such a despicable animal? It stings you, it sucks your blood, and it gives you a disease. Why did Allah bother to create that? The mosquito is a source of food for many animals. You're asking, why did Allah create the mosquito? Such a despicable animal. It stings you, it gives you a disease called malaria. Even Bill Gates set up a foundation, the Bill Gates Foundation, to fight malaria. And he spends millions to find a cure for malaria. Such a despicable animal. It stings you, it gives you a disease, and it sucks your blood. It's a parasite. Why did Allah create the mosquito? The mosquito is a source of food for many, many animals. Nothing in the heavens above, nor the earth below, was created for batil without a purpose. Not even the mosquito does. For now, give us salvation from the nar. You have no power. Give us salvation from the nar. So dhikr is the ibadah of the prophets, the messengers, and the righteous. Only with dhikr that your hearts will find self-contentment. Surah 13, verse 28. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. I only want a piece of the ayah. Only with the dhikr of Allah, your hearts will find rest. Surah 13, verse 28. I don't want all the ayah. I want a piece. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. It is only with the dhikr of Allah that your heart, verily in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts find rest. Yeah, okay, thank you. That's all I want. Only with the remembrance of Allah, your hearts find rest. Allah said, remember me and then I will remember you. Baqarah 152. What Allah said, remember me and then I will remember you. Baqarah 152. One of the characteristics of a munafiq is that they forget Allah. One of the characteristics of a munafiq, and therefore remember me and I will remember you. Okay, thank you. Now, one of the characteristics of a munafiq is that they can't remember Allah. A munafiq always forget Allah. One of the characteristics, the evidence for this is Tawbah 67. So in Tawbah 67, Allah Ta'ala said, they forget Allah, therefore Allah Ta'ala forget them. Okay, bring me where I say, they have forgotten Allah, so He has forgotten them. Verily, the hypocrites are the rebellious ones, the fasiqun. And bring me where I am quoting. Yes, they have forgotten Allah, so Allah has forgotten them. And verily, the hypocrites, they are. Woe be unto those whose hearts are hard. They don't do dhikr. Surah 39, verse 22. Surah 39, verse 22. Woe be unto those whose hearts are hard because they can't remember Allah. They don't do dhikr. Is he whose breast Allah has opened to Islam so that he is in light from his Lord as he who is a non-Muslim. So woe to those whose hearts are hard against the remembrance of Allah. They are in plain error. A'udhu billah from that. A'udhu billah from such a plight, from such a state. People who don't do dhikr, they will be raised up blind on the day of resurrection. Surah 20, 124 to 126. Bring me Surah 20, verses 124 to 126. Surah 20, verses 124 to 126. Okay, bring me all these ayahs without cutting any piece out. So people don't do dhikr. Allah will raise them up blind in the hereafter. And in the life of this world, they will live a wretched life. Their life shall be wretched in this world. Allah Ta'ala told you that those who don't do dhikr, He appoints for you a shaitan to be your companion. The person who doesn't do dhikr, Allah appoints for you a shaitan to be your intimate companion. Surah 43, verse 36. Surah 43, verse 36. وَمَن, bring me all the ayah, it's a short ayah. وَمَن يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّدْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. The one who abstains from dhikr of Ar-Rahman, we appoint for him a shaitan to become his constant intimate companion. Dhikr is the greatest deed. Wala dhikrullah akbar. Surah 29, verse 45. Surah 29, verse 45. Surah 29, verse 45. Wala dhikrullah akbar. The dhikr of Allah is the greatest thing. The other evidence, okay, shukran. The Prophet said in a famous hadith, angels roam around on the roads. So, bring me the hadith 52. The angels, they roam around looking for gatherings of dhikr. They search out. There are angels on earth who roam around looking on the roads searching for gatherings of dhikr. Abu Hurairah narrated, and Abu Sa'id al-Khudri bore testimony that Allah's Messenger said, whenever a people remember Allah, the angels surround them,
Mercy envelopes them, and peace descends upon them. And Allah mentions them to those with Him. Okay, shukran. There's a hadith that says, do dhikr till the people think you are majnoon. Do dhikr, remember Allah, till people think you're a madman. Do dhikr so much that the people call you majnoon. Majnoon means a madman. Majnoon. In another hadith, do dhikr till the hypocrites think you are showing off. What the Prophet said, do dhikr until the hypocrites say, look at him, he's showing off. Remember Allah till the hypocrites think you are showing off. Okay, one last hadith, then we close. The Rasul said, everything in the dunya is cursed, except three things. Everything in the dunya is cursed except three things. The dhikr Allah, the remembrance of Allah, a scholar of Islam, and a student of the scholar. Everything in the dunya is cursed except three things. Dhikr Allah, the remembrance of Allah, a scholar of Islam, and a student of a scholar, a pupil of that scholar. I'm stopping here for today. I'll take 3 questions about the dars you just heard. Okay, please put the 2 notes together and make it 1 note and call it the 8 gates of paradise, because we don't have proper notes for this dars. I used 53 hadiths for this dars. 53 hadiths. I'm sure we have spoken on this before, but it wasn't properly put together. 53 hadiths were quoted in this dars. And Allah knows best. This is a very long question. As-salamu alaykum, Shaykh. A sister forsake me my right to repeat salam and also normal sisterhood without any known valid reason. I tried since over a year to excuse this and send gifts and ask for her well-being, as her husband is my wali. I overlooked her speech, her idle speech for a few months ago. Yet one day I sent a dua to her husband after he didn't change this. May Allah teach her a lesson if she not obey Allah. And the Prophet said in a famous hadith, if you boycott a Muslim for 1 year, it's like you kill him. This is a famous hadith. I'm sure all of you know the hadith. I think it's collected by Bayhaqi and Musnad Ahmad. If you boycott a Muslim for 1 year, it's like you kill him. Your issue is huge and cannot be solved on Paltalk. You need arbitration. Your dispute is huge. It cannot be solved on Paltalk. It has to be solved in your local community. Also, the reason why the woman, her husband is your wali, there's jealousy going on. You're a single sister. Don't forget you're a single sister. You're looking for a husband. Her husband is your wali. So the married sister feels threatened by you. That's why she malices you. She sees you as a threat. So she malices you. The solution is to change your wali and have a wali who is old, like somebody in his 60s or 70s. Their problem is huge because for 1 year you didn't speak to each other. This cannot be solved on Paltalk. It has to be solved in your local Muslim community. I'm taking 2 more questions before I make the closing dua.
Bismillah. Basically, my question is: society now puts our health at harm, at risk. May it be the pharmaceuticals, the food, the overeating, etc. So, what is Brother Faisal's opinion on meditation or deep belly breathing to calm our mind and self? The best thing for you and do jihad for you to become wealthy. Find that hadith. Sumu tasihhu. Fast in order to become healthy, and do jihad in order to become wealthy. It seems to me you are talking about yoga. Yoga is haram because it is linked to sun worshipping. Okay, look at the hadith in front of you. Fast to become healthy, do jihad to become wealthy. It appears if you are recommending yoga. Yoga is haram because it is linked to sun worshipping. Yoga is Hinduism. If you want to be healthy, go and pray 5 times a day and go and fast in the holy month of Ramadan, and then you'll become healthy. Our lifestyle is already a healthy lifestyle. If that's not good enough, then go and do jogging every morning. And the next thank the code 19 for the notes. I'd like to thank our brother Command Tawheed for posting the Hadith Hujjah and Authentic 13 for posting the Quranic Hujjah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Our next dars is Saturday, inshallah, at the same time, 4 a.m. UK time. I'll now yield the mic.